Good evening, Swindon Town fans. Fifey is on his way back to the motherland, so I'm filling in for him today. And as the only criteria you need to do this job is to either have a beard like me and Woody, or to be obscenely rich like Rich. But as usual, we have got a top panel for you this evening. But before we do the introductions, let's roll those credits.
Take my hand, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love with you.
Swindon Town into the promised land.
So then, let's get it started with our extra special panel this evening. And we have Woody, or as he's also known, Adam Shearer. Woody, how are you doing, mate?
Not too bad, Gary. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm hoping I'm not going to get cancelled or anything like that today, but we'll soon see.
If people saw the state of our WhatsApp group, we would have been cancelled years ago.
That is very much true. A few dodgy pictures in there as well, isn't there, mate? So yeah,
and that's just Fifey. That's just Fifey as well. But
I know.
Who, by the way, I'm convinced he's not still travelling back.
Oh,
he is
100%. Has Woody got a case?
No, I'm still here. I can see you.
Yeah, I can see you, Woody, but I couldn't hear you there, mate. It kept breaking up for some reason. I don't know why.
Classic.
But, classic stuff. We can never get through a start, can we, without something going wrong?
Without something going wrong. If it's not on mute, it's just not working.
Yeah. I made sure specifically that I didn't have it on mute this time. But I'm sure we'll get saved by the next panelist. And it's Mr. Loverman himself, Nick. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very good. Joining in this solidarity with you guys. So see what happens. Good day Saturday. Might even watch a bit Saturday night if we're back in time, but I doubt that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a good day tomorrow, isn't it, Nick? But more about that later.
Yeah.
Coming back for his third appearance in Fools Rush In, but his second in as many months. It's Gary, or as we affectionately know him as, One Show. How are you doing, Gary?
BBC One Show.
Hey,
I must have missed the match of day memo. Sorry.
Brilliant. So yeah, and then finally for our final guest, we might be having a couple more later, but it's the rich man himself. Rich, how you doing, mate?
How you doing, boys? All right. Glad to be finally on a show where One Show's on it. So all good, boys. How we doing?
Yeah, all the better for having you on, my friend. So yeah, let's go straight into it. We've got a lot to cover tonight. The news has been coming in thick and fast over the last couple of days. But firstly, and it seems finally, we have an assistant manager, and it's not alone. This has obviously been a long time coming, guys. So we'll start with you, Woody. What's your thoughts on this? Is it too little, too late, or do you think Brand might make a difference now that he's sat in the dugout with Jody Morris to bounce off of?
I think he'll make a difference in one way or another. I think it's too hard to say whether it's going to be too little or too late, because from my knowledge, he's still been working with Morris as well and doing some bits with them. So, and I think he's been up in the Posh Seats, which we all know too well soon. But it's the yeah, I mean, he needs it, doesn't he? You know, every manager needs that assistant. So it's you know, and I think it might, in a kind of fluffy way, take a bit of pressure off the likes of Gav Gunning and Mildy as well, to kind of, you know, they can now settle back into defensive coach and goalkeeper coach respectively as well. So, but yeah, having a guy of that quality, I don't, you know, whether the EFL rejected the loan terms or whatever, but to have him on an 18-month, because I think obviously Jody's on a decent deal as well. So, is it too little, too late for the season? Who knows at the moment, but at least it kind of secures us that hopefully we have a good management duo for the seasons ahead.
Yes, exactly, mate. Yeah, and Nick, this has obviously rumbled on for a long time. We don't seem to know what the particular issue is. It was to do with some sort of legality, I'm guessing, between the EFL and Swindon, but it's good that we've actually decided to pay Chelsea the compensation, because it just didn't look like we were going to pay any decent money for him.
No, it is an absolute positive, and I think that, like Woody said, that'll take pressure off the other coaches and off of Jody Morris as well, if he's got, you know, somebody to bounce off during the game. Rather than him having to sort of look at the whole thing and everything that's going on. And obviously he trusts Brand 100%. So that's going to make him probably a little bit more relaxed. I've seen some of his comments it's quite interesting if you read into him, because he'll put the things in like at last and been dragging on too long, and he has, you know, little digs. So he's obviously hasn't been happy. So hopefully we've gone past that. But I think the main thing, in Woody said it's 18-month contract. I mean, that gives a message of intent for next season. So they're both on that length of contract, and that hopefully we can get out of this league this season, and we'll probably talk about that later again, as we normally do. But yeah, and we've got something to build on for next season. So that's, to me, is the massive positive.
Yeah, absolutely is Nick. I mean, I must admit, when I saw it was an 18-month contract, I was quite relieved and also surprised to be honest. So that's good work from the club that they've managed to get that over the line. Rich, I mean, obviously you're a coach and you have an assistant coach. Is that right? With you for your team. I mean, I know it's a junior level, but obviously that can take the workload off the head coach, so to speak. So, you know, as frustrated as we've seen Jody Morris has been lately because of this not getting over the line, it's obviously must be a relief for him, because Brand can take over some of that workload. What do you think? I think it was Woody that said about, you know, Gunning and Mildenhall would be able to take a step back and all. But do you think there's any other things that Brand will do that could make Jody Morris's job a bit easier?
I think just being there is a positive himself. Just having him on the actual touchline, do you know? I mean, the amount of times that I have had my assistant on the touchline with me, and the amount of times that I haven't had that person on the touchline with me, it's always fantastic to bounce ideas off and the ways you can potentially change the game. And you know, I think in terms of Morris, I think he'd just be massively relieved to have that person on the touchline with them, to like, if the game's not going great, right, what can we do? Like, because everybody's got a different idea, everybody's got a different opinion, everybody's got a different philosophy. And I think just having that person there, just like, right, is there something that we can do to potentially change this game? And the fact that Morris trusts that person so much in terms of Ed Brand, and he's come out and said it before, to say that, oh, well, we shared an office together for 2 years. Obviously, we know each other inside out and stuff like that. That is a massive positive. And to have that right next to you on the touchline is just a massive positive. It's all well and good having that person, okay, even if he's in the stands, but you're like communicating with him every 10, 15 minutes or whatever. I don't actually know how it's worked so far or how it has worked in the past, but to just like have him right next to you and just say, right, okay, this isn't working, right, what can we do next? How can we, that's what you want. You want that. And I think in terms of just that assistant in general, that person that you can trust is just a massive positive. So obviously, and he's come out in press conferences as well to say that, I'm not happy with this. I really need this to go over the line now. Makes me sort of believe that he hasn't had that much of a say in things as he would like to have had. But I think now the fact that it has happened, it is all fantastic. And I think, I think he will be taking more training sessions, which is generally what the assistant naturally does. He does take more of the training sessions, and I think in terms of Jody Morris's role to oversee that, and obviously try and progress and help his players, and I think having that satisfaction is always a relief for a head coach. So I think it's a massive positive.
Yeah, I fully agree, mate. I mean, it's, I think we're seeing, especially in the modern day, the importance of an assistant manager's role, especially with the pressures that managers are under these days, or head coaches. What Sean says here about, Brand could turn out to be our Peter Taylor, who of course was the assistant manager under Brian Clough and was instrumental in that success. Gary, I'll bring you in here. We've had our own versions of that over the years. Dennis Wise had Gus Poyet, Lou Macari. I think it was Chick Bates, and then Andy Rowland, and of course John Gorman under different circumstances for Glenn Hoddle, of course, being player manager. Do you think that could be could be key for us? Either giving it a good go this season or to go on and get promoted next season.
I don't see why not. There's got to be some plan here. I mean, it's taken 18 months to get them over the line. It feels like 18-month deal now. It feels like to be well worth the deal. It's got to be a good thing for the club. It's got to be a good thing for Jody Morris. He's got that person now who he can talk to. He's got someone to back him at the club. It's just a good thing. He can, like Rich and other guys have said, if a match is not going his way, how can he change it? Who can he talk to? Yes, he's got the other coaches there, but this is his confidence. This is his. We see it when managers move clubs, they take their backroom staff with them. They always take the number 2 with them, because that is almost like your best friend in football, isn't it? So I think it's a great thing for the club. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's enough to save the season.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope that this is the start of turning things around. I mean, Morris has already started to turn things around, and then hopefully Brand could be the difference to get us over the line either this season or next season. And so the signings have been coming in thick and fast, and it's a shame that wasn't the case in January, but there we go. We finally signed a centre-back, and not a moment too soon with the injuries we've been getting in defence. I'll start with you, Rich. what do you think of the Tom Brewitt signing and the actual status of our defence at the moment? Because it's we're threadbare to say the least.
Yeah, I think it's good that we've obviously brought in another centre back, and I say experience in the lightest of ways if possible, because I mean I mean, I'm not entirely sure how strong and tough the second division of the MLS has. I mean, he's played for Morecambe, and I can't remember what season
Filed.
yeah, he
was
played for
at.
yeah. He's played there as well, and I mean, obviously Morecambe got obviously promoted one year, but I'm not sure if that was the year that he was there where they got promoted. But either way, though, he's obviously played for Morecambe in the Football League, so he's got experience there. Obviously, he's played the last few years over in America in the second division of America, and I think the way that obviously they're building up the football scene, or obviously soccer scene over in America, I think is obviously quite, it's obviously big, whatever division you're in. So obviously he's second division, one down from the MLS. But from what I've been told, and from what, um, Morris has said that he's had a good education. It's all well and good having an education, but I think he's like a really tough, no nonsense sort of centre half. So I think that's the kind of player that we do need now. In terms of him actually potentially starting now, it's probably come actually at a bad time for him, because I mean, like, I know we'll probably talk about this more a little bit later on in the show, but I think with the terms, how Harrison Minton played last week, I'd find it hard to drop him at this point. So, but like I say, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I think in terms of a squad player and potentially pushing to be playing in the first team and pushing us on to maybe try and get at least a playoff place, I think finally, I think it is a really, really good move. And it's a move that we needed to have. And he's not like a really young player either. He's got some experience. He probably knows Clayton as well, maybe at some point in his career. So who knows? But they'll probably have that kind of rapport as well. So, and it seems as if he's a bit of a leader. So, I think it's only a positive, really.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know my thoughts on the new signing, but I'll try to be as level as I can on it. One signing who we made early on in the season, who everyone thought was rubbish to begin with, was Blake Tracy, obviously from Burton, and he's turned out to be one of our best and most consistent players this season. Gary, do you think that there's a chance of that? Because I don't think anyone could have predicted that Blake Tracy would be the player that he has turned out to be this season. Do you think it's possible that that Brewitt could make a difference, or do you think we've just scraped the barrel because that was who was available at the time?
Well, let's be honest. If we're in the free transfer market, it is what is available, isn't there? The options are going to be very limited. We've left it at that stage, so there goes the options. What will be, will be. We have to take what we can, and we're down to the stage where we need cover. Because the injuries have just kept going and on and on and on. We lost a couple more on the weekend, so we had to sign somebody. And obviously, we tried signing other players. A lad from Watford fell through, or the former Watford player fell through. So we've had to just take what we can, and we'll just have to see whether he can step up to the plate or not. What options have we got at this stage of the season? Will he be another Blake Tracy? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
I guess we're beggars can't be choosers really at the moment, and that's the way it is. You don't know. I've always said it until players are given the opportunity. Although, mind you, he is 26, so this isn't like we've brought in a youngster, is it? But yeah, who knows? As we're talking about the defence, Nick, obviously we heard the sad news that Devine's now out until the end of the season. It just hasn't worked for him, has it? When he started over the weekend, he looked quite decent up until he got injured. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's obviously. I mean, it's gutting for him, and reading Jody Morris, and he was obviously upset for the lad. Yeah, it seems we take one step forward and two steps backwards at the moment with injury wise. Where up to earlier in the season we'd been really good and we were getting players playing week in week out that you wouldn't expect to because of their injury record. So yeah, it is absolutely gutting that he hasn't made it. But we've got the semblance of a team now, and say with the lad coming in at centre half, and again reading some reports from Jody Morris, he said he's been really, really good when he's been training with us for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So obviously, he must. Well, he rates him. I can see us. I don't know if you want to talk about the team now or talk about it later. But
we'll cover it later.
Yeah. So yeah, it's sad on a young kid getting injured again. But we've got another player through the door, which is what we need. We need bodies in there at the moment. And if I think someone said he's 27, he's been around a bit. So like you say, it's not like bringing in another 19-year-old in. Although our 19-year-old did really well last Saturday. So give him the chance and see what happens.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Minton did have a really good game last week in very, that's as tough as it gets, I think, at this level. Woody, I mean, I know we said we would talk about the team later. Do you think it would be harsh if Minton was dropped for Brewitt?
Yes. I think if he's had a good game, you keep him in, especially when all the hype that we seem to be given, the fact that it was such a good draw against the league leaders, that kind of says to me that, he was part of that team and he couldn't really do much about he couldn't do anything about their goal. That was a tactical thing, really. I don't understand why Hepburn Murphy was technically the guy who was tracing the most, one of the most. Kaji, was it Kaji? Because somebody said Hepburn Murphy already.
No, it was Kaji.
Well, either way, that's a. Why? Kaji's not an experienced defender yet. The guy who scored has scored quite a few times from corners this season. So, really, realistically, we should have. That's a tactical thing for me. So, yeah, Minton had a good game. So, yeah, it would be harsh in terms of Brewitt. I'm not looking too much into the fact he's been to America. Obviously, their setup is a little bit different to ours over here. I know Rich said about it's at MLS 2 or whatever they call it over there, but they're all feeder clubs in MLS 2. So I think the one he was at is a Seattle Sounders feeder club. So he has been around some half decent players. If he's been involved with Seattle Sounders as well. The other thing is like people were saying, why would he have gone out there? I actually had a look on his Wikipedia earlier, thinking we were going to talk about him tonight. I think it says that he's actually dual nationality to America, because his mother's American. So that's probably that probably will be related to the reason why he took a move out there in the first place. I agree with Rich. I don't think we can't really look at him as an experienced defender, really, because he's 26, 27 years old. He's not played 100 games yet. So it's but it's another body. Although it's been frustrating that we've taken so long to sign him, he's been training for a couple of weeks now. So obviously Jody Morris likes what he sees. And, I'm going to trust Jody's judgment on that at the end of the day. He's 26, but when we think of Jody's background in terms of picking players out from, arguably off a massive pool of players and turning them into, picking out the likes of Mason Mount in the past and things like that, I'm going to trust his judgment with picking players. I agree with you, Craig, on he's got a bit of a checkered past about him, but that almost fits the Swindon blueprint in some ways. Like I said, I'm a bit pissed off he didn't show any remorse for what he did, but maybe that's just a weird self-defense thing. So yeah, hopefully he comes through. But should he start tomorrow? I personally wouldn't change too much from what happened at the end of last week, to be honest. But I think, given that he's 6 foot something, apparently a bit of a leader, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, so yeah, well, we'll soon find out tomorrow. It'll be interesting. It's nice for Morris to have these selection headaches, really. So yeah, we will move on to the next big topic that was announced today. The new season ticket prices have been brought out for next season. The early bird prices and the normal ones, as well as the match day increases. From looking on social media, they've had a bit of a mixed reaction, but the bearing in mind what has happened recently with Walsall and Tranmere, after the quite extortionate increases, let's face it, there's a lot of relief I can sense from the fan base. What's your thoughts on it, Gary?
Well, I only glanced at them earlier on briefly. But what I saw, it doesn't look ridiculous. There was always going to be an increase, you'd imagine, regardless. And like you say, what we've seen for Walsall and other clubs so far, it feels like we've done all right there. I should imagine people will still have some mixed views in it. Some people still think the match day tickets will probably be too expensive for League Two football, if that's where we are. But I don't think we've done too bad. I think not read that the trust got, or the supporters trust got involved?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, so the supporters club, I've got to say a massive shout out and credit to the supporters club. They really pushed for us fans to get those season ticket prices, because apparently that was not the original plan. Apparently the prices were going to skyrocket. So a massive relief for us fans, and a massive praise and applause goes out to the supporters club and supporters trust that really fought for us fans. And I think that really does embed what we're trying to be about now, as we're trying to be a family club, and we're trying to support one another. And we gave a lot, obviously, in terms of when the club was first took over, and we had to make the decision whether or not we asked for our season ticket money back that season, or we gave it towards the club. And I think even within this financial crisis, or whatever, this living crisis, and the fact that they've really, I'd like to think that the club have acknowledged that a little bit, but obviously with the push from the trust and the supporters club, the fact that they've actually given us the opportunity to actually freeze this time in a world that we're in at the moment, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I think credit has to go to the trust and the supporters club. I read both of their statements, and for those who don't know, the club apparently were pushing for an even bigger increase along the lines of not quite as high as Walsall and Tranmere, but definitely within that region. And the trust and the supporters club wanted a price freeze. But they had very good discussions about it, very good adult conversations, which, for all the criticisms that the trust gets, it's good that they've got those channels of communication where they're able to do that. And it seems that they've managed to get the increase to be as minimal as possible, which, all right, it's not ideal, in the current climate, like we said, but I think, credit has to go to them for it. One of the things that I did notice on the social media, because there wasn't much difference between the early bird price and the full price after April. A lot of people are saying that they're going to wait until the summer to see what recruitment we do, to see if we're being ambitious enough to do at least better recruitment than what we've done in the two transfer windows previous. Woody, what do you think of that? I mean, I know you're not a season ticket holder, are you? But if you was in that position, would you be waiting to find out what the club are doing?
He would be if he could, by the way.
Sorry, mate.
He would be if he could. The season ticket.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yeah. Not all of us live at home, Rich.
No. It's not. But it's good to see that they've actually got a proper, like, sort of pay monthly thing this time rather
we
than the
think.
fucking finance shits
Yeah.
that they've had the last couple of months.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by.
Yeah.
There's no. I don't know. They haven't actually released the finance options yet, so we don't.
PayPal and Klarna.
Oh, really? Okay, that's not so bad. Although Klarna is just as bad nowadays, but judging by their news media. But either way, I mean the news is good. I've forgotten what your original question was now, but
Well, it was the difference between the early bird and the normal season ticket prices, and that some fans are going to hold off until they see how ambitious we are in the transfer market.
I think that will probably apply to a minority of fans. To be honest, I think we discussed it. Well, I don't know if we were discussing it off pod, but I think people will still buy season tickets even if they had gone up by extortionate prices. To be totally honest, I think it would have gone down, but I still think you still get your kind of loyal core that will find a way to pay for it. And if I could use a term, but yeah. Fair play to the club in some ways. It sounds like they've actually listened to what the fans are saying. Although I'm not, being in a business that get constantly grilled for our ticket prices. It's kind of, I know that if you look at the match day prices, they are relying on that to kind of help them out with any deficit, I think, because that is quite a hike. The only thing is that I guess I'm a little bit irritated about is, I think I mentioned it a while ago, is they still haven't addressed this, what a family ticket is. There is still one adult, one under 18, and it frustrates me to that point. It's just that's not even a definition of a family in some ways. Apart from a single parent family, which has its own category now. So it's a little bit annoying, but I'm pleased that I might get one next season. I'm not sure, but I have to see the true value for money. But I'm not fooled necessarily by the marketing ploy that you get 9 games for free. But that the only reason you get 9 games for free is because they put the match day prices up. So it's it's good. It hopefully encourages people to buy season tickets, because that's what we need. We do need that kind of guaranteed income. And when we were sat here, probably 2 seasons ago, maybe going, fucking hell, we're so expensive as a club in terms of our season tickets, because we have been one of the most expensive in the division for a couple, League One and League Two for a couple of seasons, and now we look like we're slowly getting down into that midriff. So, especially thanks to Walsall, etc. So, no, fair play. They've listened to the fans. Hopefully, that's what it is anyway. But I do worry about that kind of match day hike. I think they need to, especially the family ticket, because most people, and I hope I'm right, most people that are buying match day tickets will either be, kind of maybe mid-teens, late teens, early 20s who have decided to go at the last minute, or there'll be mums, dads going, come on, kids, let's do something this Saturday. And at the moment, it costs a lot. Like I said the other day, I took my 2 nieces and it was nearly 50 quid. So it's kind of, that's almost unreasonable. And the only reason it is because my 2 nieces, 15 and 12, and it cost me nearly 50 quid. So you add on to that petrol, you add on to that car parking, buying a drink or whatever. It's but yeah, I still think let's not lean as far as the Bradford model, where making it stupidly cheap. Getting a season ticket with a Happy Meal and all that kind of stuff. But I think there is a little bit of work we could do there, personally.
Yeah, I think like for me, because I mean my eldest 2 kids who I take to the games, they're 15 and 17 now, so it's only going to be a couple of years before they're full paying adults anyway. But for me, that family ticket does make a big difference, and it's with the increases now, I am going to think twice, and I can't, because of the nature of my job, I've never had a season ticket and probably never will until I retire. So I am going to be a match day goer, but as we've talked to Mark in the chat earlier, me and probably quite a few people, that's not a criticism of the club, because I accept that the club's costs are going to go up, but like you said, Woody, it's quite a steep rise, and unfortunately for many people, that they're going to have to think twice, and that's not really what you want. You're saying about the Bradford model, which is what I was going to bring Nick in on. Quite a few fans are suggesting that. Now, I don't think that the club would ever go that drastic. That would have to be something that was done incremental over a period of a few seasons, maybe, or a few seasons have a price freeze. But do you think, you're obviously a season ticket holder yourself, Nick? Do you think that there is any logic in eventually going down that route where they reduce the season ticket prices? Do you think that realistically we could get enough people through the door to make that financially justifiable?
In one word, no. So if you look at the figures, we're averaging 9,000 fans each game, and if you said £20 a ticket on average across the board, just as a base, that's 180k. Well, if we reduce the prices down to 15 quid a ticket, we'd need to get 12k in there. So we'd need another 3,000 fans coming through the door just to break even. So we're not getting any more money in the door. All right, you can argue why people are spending money in the stadium. And if you put it down any lower, say if you halved it, like Bradford's prices, like 10 quid a ticket, we'd need to put 14,000 into Swindon. And, that's not going to happen on a regular basis. If we were in League One, obviously our gates would increase because of the away support. And this is where we suffer now, because the away support in a lot of cases is minimal. So I don't think, for me, the Bradford model wouldn't work for us. I mean, they're putting 20,000 people in their ground. I mean, our ground doesn't hold 20,000 for one thing. And, I can remember back in the day when, it was packed out with more than that, but that was before the Premiership and saturation football on the TV. So we are in a different ball game. So from that, but with regard to the actual season ticket prices, I mean, for myself, it works out like £12.5 a game, which in nowadays is nothing. And I think a season ticket one works out about £17 a game. And you can see what the club are doing. They want to push people into buying a season ticket, because then they've got the money up front, and that money is guaranteed for the rest of the season, however we're doing. So you can see why they're pushing it that way. And I would have thought, and again, I'm not sure what this finance package is where you can pay over a period. You're probably better off doing that. It costs you 40 quid a month. That's put like 10 quid a week away, rather than paying, 2 home games. That's 54 quid. So you're probably better budgeting it that way. So, and that's the way the club want to go. Yeah, 27 quid for a walk-in is a lot of money, certainly for League Two. But I say, you can see the business model for it is to push more season tickets being purchased. And, they are, again, for concessions, it is cheap. And the others, it's reasonable in today's market that's out there.
Yeah, no, that's some really excellent points there, Nick. I think with with the way it's going, it's a tricky subject. That season ticket price increases are always going to divide a fan base. People are going to have different views on it depending on their situation. I think everyone's in a different situation, and it's hard. And you can understand. I certainly can understand those people who are complaining about the prices, but obviously, and people who are in a situation where they can buy a season ticket outright. That's it does look like really. It doesn't just look. It is really good value, like you said, Nick. So yeah, but I think that the main thing for us is that we haven't gone down the route of Tranmere and Warsaw, because I think as with all the PR disasters that the club has had already this season, that would have definitely topped it. But yeah, it's a tricky one. But it'll be interesting to see how many season tickets we do get after a third consecutive season in League Two.
Yeah, I think the other thing, in picking up on what Woody said, is it and whether it's the trust or the official supporters club, ought to be pushing a bit more for this family ticket bundle. And I think that's probably a key thing for a lot of people, and especially if we want to encourage families to come and to, mums and dads to bring their youngsters with them. The way to do it is to give them, a better package so they can afford it. And they're not, like Woody said, it's, 2 adults and 2 kids paying walk-in prices. That's a hell of a lot of money come out of your pocket, and people can't afford that. So I think they really need to look at some sort of family setup that will help people and get more fans into the ground.
I think especially because under 16s can't go in on their own in certain areas, or 14s or whatever. It's I think Dale just put up there as well about the it's only a £2 increase. That might be right. I thought I only paid £23 last time I went and sat in the Arcles, but so it's a £4 increase, I think. But I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. But either way, it's also addressing the fact that it was expensive anyway. So it's and like Nick said, like the family things, that's the big thing for me, because I don't. It's all right for me, I guess, because I don't. My other half doesn't go to the games, but my kids all want to. Most of my kids want to go. My niece tonight, wants to go, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's but enough about that, I guess.
So do any of you want to got any more to cover on season tickets at all? No? Okay, well, we'll move on to the next subject then. So we're going to cover the Swindon Town women. There's a full complement of games for all 3 teams. The first team are at home to Southsea. I believe that's at Fairford, isn't it, Woody?
Yeah, at Southsea, at Fairford against Chichester and Southsea. I feel like I want to call them now. But yeah, it's it should be a decent game, I think. Obviously, this will be the 3rd time I think the sides have met this season. Always been a relatively close game. Obviously, Southsea won. I think it was either the opening fixture or one of the opening fixtures. So it should be a good opportunity for especially the new signings, hopefully to bed in, who obviously we had on, and they've done the podcast rounds, bless them, this week. It'd be a good opportunity. There's only, Southsea will be looking at it as probably looking at that table, probably their last chance to really go above Swindon. Obviously they won't go above Swindon straight away, but it'll be their last chance to really have a go. So whereas for Swindon, it's really to kind of cement that place in the top half of the table, really. So it's and that would be a big achievement when you think of everything that's happened off the pitch this season as well. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, you've got some teams up there that are properly, have got a lot of resources behind them, haven't they? And a lot of support. Not to say that Swindon hasn't. Obviously, Swindon has stepped up this season, but it's there isn't a playoff system, is there, for this division? Is there, Woody?
No. It's literally just one goes up from this division and the southeast equivalent as well.
Yeah. So Swindon are, looking to finish as high as they can. Obviously, the promotion spot is probably beyond them, but what do you think they could get any higher than 6th place? Obviously, a top half would be an amazing finish, Woody, but there's still.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. I have to admit, I didn't look before we come on the call the rest of their fixtures after this, but when we think of teams that they've played up there, kind of Bournemouth, they've already had positive, I guess, results over Bournemouth is probably the right way to put it. Yeah, and I think they did it home and away, so it's kind of I think realistically, and I hope I'm not contradicting myself, but I'm pretty sure I said at the beginning of the season that I'd see them in a 4th place based on the squad they have. I still don't think it's massively out of reach given the games that they've got more games left than most teams. But yeah, I think, like I say.
So they've got all 5 of the top 5 to play.
Yeah,
basically.
well, there you go.
So they've got Exeter, Cardiff. Not Bournemouth. They've already played Bournemouth twice. So they've got Exeter twice, Cardiff, Southampton and Moneyfields all to play, and then they've got Keynsham and Portishead as well to play.
Yeah. So when you think really Keynsham and Portishead should be 6 points.
Yeah.
So
and
really
I think Southampton could be a very interesting game at home as well.
Yeah.
And all the other ones are just like see what
Yeah, 'cause I
happens,
think
sort of thing like that. I mean, they've got nothing to lose really in those games. In the other games, like Exeter, Cardiff, and Moneyfields would be I think obviously myself and yourself. Well, if you can get to that game, Woody, I think would be a very, very interesting game.
Yeah, because Moneyfields have been the surprise package, arguably, in that division this season. I thought they'd do all right. I thought they'd hold their own, but they've actually done really well. And I think they really did Swindon last time. I think it was Swindon's first loss in a while, wasn't it? When if you take the cup out of it, it should be. It's a good run in for James's side. So hopefully they.
It'd be a good test either way. To be honest with you, it'd be a good test. It'd be good for them to try and push themselves even more. And obviously, like you say, with the new signings as well, you've got a brand new goal scorer as well to support Annie up there as well. So I think to see if you can get the best out of both worlds with those two up front, and whether or not James chooses Annie or what was the other one? Who's the new sign?
Charlie Rowlands.
Charlie.
Yeah, Rowlands. Yeah.
Yeah, they've certainly had a the side has certainly been strengthened. So hopefully that will help them push on and finish as high as possible, and give them a good base for pushing maybe even further next season. The development side is at home to Bournemouth, I believe. And the under-18s, which is Grace's team, of course, they are playing it's a top of the table clash, isn't it, Woody? Cumnor Miners.
Yeah, so Cumnor Miners. So what their division does is it splits halfway through the season. I think the Scottish League used to do that, didn't it? But so it splits halfway through the season, and so Cumnor finished, I guess, the half-season top. They beat Swindon 3-2, I think it was. Swindon had a couple of players missing then. I think they've got a bit of a stronger squad tomorrow. A big game for them, really, because I still firmly believe that Swindon could. Obviously, they landed in the top half. They had a great result last weekend against Summertown. So I think, there could be silverware there. There's definitely silverware available there, I think. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they can do the business tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, and if any Swindon fans can come along and go out and support our women's teams, and like we said, the first team is at home to Fairford. That'll be a 2:00 kickoff on Sunday. So next up, we have the meat of the show. We will be previewing the game tomorrow against Carlisle United. So I'll start with you, Gary. Carlisle has certainly been the surprise package this season. I do recall when we did our previews, our predictions, at the start of the season, most of us had Carlisle down the bottom. What do you think our chances are tomorrow? Because obviously they're in form and they're looking good, a good bet for automatic promotion.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Who would have thought Carlisle would be where they are? Fair play to them what they've done this season. They've probably got a smaller budget and smaller tendencies than we have, so they've done really well for themselves. So you can't take that away from them. I would have had them down towards the bottom, if I'm honest. I think tomorrow's going to be. Once upon a time, we'd have gone Carlisle, we'll win that, walk over them 2 or 3-0, quite easy. But I think tomorrow's going to be really tough, really, really tough. Like I said, they're in form. Luckily, we've picked up a little bit recent weeks, so you could argue we're in form. Not great form, but we're in better form than we have been recently. So 2 sides with, point to prove. We're home, so hopefully that gives us a bit of advantage. Let's just see. But I think it's going to be a real tough game compared to the side we would normally think we would just push the side up quite easy at home. But yeah, tough game.
Yeah, Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on, Gary. Like last season, they finished 20th, and I mean, fair play to Paul Simpson. He's done one hell of a job there. And like you said, we're in a bit of form, but so are they. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, got 22 out of 30 points. Nick, what like as Gary said, we're in a bit of form ourselves, but so are Carlisle. So it's going to be a tough game. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, it will. It will be. They all seem to be a bit of a bogey side coming down to our place. They all seem to get a victory out of us. So hopefully that's not the case Saturday. But as has already been said, I mean, they've won their last 3 games. So they're definitely the form side at the moment. But over the last 6 games, they've taken 10 points out of the last 6. So right. They're sort of middling with 6 games. So there's a bit of hope there. Will they get 4 wins on the trot? Let's say no, they won't. It's they're going to have a little stumble, and hopefully it's going to be Saturday. But yeah, they're obviously playing some decent stuff, and they're going to come down to us high in confidence, and it will be a tough game. But maybe that's probably what we need. We had a tough game last week. We come through it. We know we're going to have a tough game this week, and I was sort of looking at some of the other results that have gone on recently. And it's the teams down the bottom end of the league that, to be honest, are the danger teams. I'm going to see Salford had just been beaten by Crewe, so that's a good job, a good score for us. Stevenage got beat by Rochdale last week, so it's the teams at the bottom that are going to be battling. And if you're not switched on in thinking that, this is going to be an easy game because they're near the bottom, and that's where teams slip up. So for us playing a team who are second in the league, to me, that's probably a good game for us to come into. So I'm even though on my predictions I wasn't this positive, but I'm a bit more positive now, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nick. I think pretty much every game now is going to be a tough one, except for maybe Crawley if Lindsay's still managing them with any luck at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean. Carlisle now they've spent, this will be their 9th season on the trot in League 2, so this is as good a chance as they'll ever have to get back up into League 1. So they are going to be, I'd imagine they're going to be ruthless now between now and the end of the season, and it is going to be a tough game. As you said, as Sean just said, they've been very good away from home, and our home form hasn't been great this season. We've only won 7 out of 16 at home. What's your thoughts, Woody? Obviously, it is a very tough match. Do you think there's anything that Morris and Brand can do to maybe get one over Paul Simpson? I'm not too sure how Carlisle play, but I think it's going to be quite an entertaining game.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Simpson's done extremely well there. I was just having a look at, he's almost got near 50% win rate for crying out loud, So if that's not promotion form, what is, So it's, I think the one thing I've only managed to see kind of clips here and there of Carlisle, but I think one thing that they will have about them is the ability to adapt and change their game plan. I don't think they're kind of that old school team that used to come to us that kind of brick shit houses, almost Scottish football kind of style. It's he knows that they've obviously got an appetite for winning games. So he'll be able to adapt, etc. How we are going to battle that. I wasn't at Leyton Orient, so it's probably not right for me to say so. But in some ways, as I said before the Leyton Orient game, if we're focusing more on our attacking elements, then there shouldn't be any reason why we don't get the result tomorrow. I'm feeling relatively positive. I think we are on the up. It seems that good news is coming out all the way around at the moment. So, hopefully that kind of positive vibe, if you like, changing announcer, all of that kind of stuff is. You never know. You never know. Just when things just happen during the week, and you have a good build up towards it. Hopefully, it will be the one time. But we'll wait and see. It's as long as one thing I think BTB or Jack, whoever's pretending to be who, put up. It is going to be a cracking game. It's got to be a cracking game because it's just kind of like both teams, like you say, Carlisle. This is their one real chance to give us a go, and they will fancy it because they'll know that we're in slight form as Gary said, but it's we can't be fooled by that because we weren't in very good form before that. So Carlisle and Paul Simpson especially, we were going right. Okay, well they're a bit inconsistent. They're consistently inconsistent. So it's but yeah, hopefully it'll be a cracking game either way. I do fancy us to win it, but it's not going to be a 0-0. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. I mean, they've scored 19 goals in their last 10 games, so they can definitely put the ball in the net. What do you think, Rich? Do you think this is going to be a high-scoring game tomorrow? Open-ended stuff, entertaining?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I think we'll obviously try and play our football. I'm not entirely sure the kind of football that they play. They might just play fast attacking sort of football where we like to obviously get it down, pass it about, and obviously try and create the attack. But obviously, who knows? Obviously, I think tomorrow is probably more important that we get obviously the noise from the behind us, whether or not that's pre-match or whether or not that's during the match. So who knows? But I think we've got to really push and try and bring a lot into what we have brought into the last couple of games and try and really put it all together, because I feel as if the last couple of games that we've had, I think there's been small positive, even the games that we've lost, even against Sutton, there were even positives bringing out of that game. Now is the time that we need to bring it all together and really push and, try and grind a result against it. I hate using the term top team because Carlisle, they're not a top team. They've done well this season. Fair play to them, and you've got to give respect. But also at the same time, though, you've really, they're a team that you should be beating at the end of the day, and it's frustrating. But they are where they are, and we are where we are. And we have to push up to their level, really, that they have done this season. So,
Well, I mean, I would argue, Rich, that they are a top team because they're in the top three. But
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
As
much as it kills me to say that they're a top team, because arguably not arguably, but over the last 9 seasons, because you said it was like the last 9 seasons have been in League Two, right? Yeah. So over the last 9 seasons, they've been a team. I mean, Nick said it earlier, they've been a bit of a bogey team from where we have been at home, but when we've played them away, we've actually got a result against them, whether or not that's a win or a draw. Now we've got to turn that around. I can't remember. We played them earlier in the season. I can't remember what the score was. It a 0-0 draw? Was it? Or
I'm not too sure, mate. But
I think it was a draw, Rich. It might have been a score
no,
draw.
it was 1-1. It was 1-1. 1-1. Wait, Jacob Wakeland scored, wasn't it? It was like second or third game of the season. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did.
Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw. So I think now is the time to turn it around, turn that around, because I'm pretty sure the last couple of home games that we've played against Carlisle have been the first game of the season. And we seem to have lost. So, we've got them at a good time. Obviously, we're on a sort of a run. Obviously, we've won 2 and drawn 1. So we're unbeaten in our last 3.
You're starting to sound like Ben now, Rich.
No, it's not. We've got... what I'm trying to get to is that we need to carry the momentum. It's not about us getting up on our high horses and, you know, sort of taking everything for granted, because we can't, and especially Carlisle, because we can't take them for granted. They are where they are, and we've got a home record against them, which is pretty shit. So we have got to go in there with the most intensity as possible. We okay, we've come off a decent run. We can't take anything for granted. And we've got to go in there with the highest possible. And if we win, fantastic. If we get a draw, a result's a result. But I think we really, really need to push in this game and obviously try and get the best result possible that we can do.
The thing I think in our favour of being a Swindon fan for all these years is whenever a side's in the top 2, top 3, whatever, come to the ground, we've always done well against those sides. Whether it was if you get a relegation for the side that are rock bottom, they'll come and turn us over 1-0. So if we can go and bang an early goal, Charlie Austin headers a goal in, and the crowd get going, the fans get going, then hey, world's our oyster for the day. But if we go 1 goal behind, it could also change. But we always do better against the high-flying sides, it seems, at the Canning Ground.
No, it's a very valid point, Gary, especially with what you say, if, you know, how quickly the crowd can turn and what a difference. You know, I think we say it almost every week, the first goal is going to be key, and I think that's an understatement. So I'm going to ask you all a question, and it seems like we're saying this almost every week now since Morris has taken over. Do you guys, and whoever wants to answer first, is this a must-win game? So I'll start with you, Rich.
Yeah, definitely must win. I mean, I think a must win in terms of obviously if we want to challenge for playoffs.
Well, sorry, I'll qualify that because I had a bit of context for that. We need at least 4 clubs above us to hit bad form for us to get into the playoffs. That's
one of them's already done it this evening. So
yeah, but that's not bad form. That's just one result. Although, mind you, I think they might not have done as well at the weekend.
We've got three games in hand over them as well. I mean, that means nothing, by the way. But
I was always told that it's about points on the board.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely agree with you.
We don't need to get into that again. All the teams above us, apart from Stevenage, are in good form if you look at their last 5 results. So what I'm saying is it's a big ask. So that's the reason why I'm asking, is the Carlisle game a must win? Sorry I interrupted you, mate.
No, absolutely. No, it's absolutely fine. I think it's a must win game, and I think it's a game that we can win. You know, there is absolutely no reason as to why we cannot win that game. I don't think there was no reason that we couldn't beat Leighton last week. So there's definitely no reason as to why we can't beat any team in this league. So I fully believe that it is a must-win game, and I fully believe that we can potentially win this game. Whether or not we will or not is another question, but I'll leave you to ask that later.
What do you think, Woody? Is it a must-win game?
Every game's a must-win game, Craig. You know that with me.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
If every game wasn't a must-win game, you get more points for drawing and losing, wouldn't you? So every game's a must-win game.
No, fair point. What about you, Nick?
I've got a slightly different view. We need to achieve a number of points to get into the playoff places. And yes, a win against Carlisle would again send that message out. We are going to lose some more games this season, without a doubt. I think we need, from my calculations I did earlier, we need 7 wins out of 13. If we lost against Carlisle and win our next 3 or 4 games, we're on track. Yes, it's one we want to win, one we can win, but if we don't win it, it won't be the end of our season. So from that point of view, it's not a disaster if we don't win it, then put it like that. Yes, ideally 3 more points on the board, and that gives us in a real good position to push on. So it depends how you look at it. Yeah, we want to win every game, obviously, but we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I think, that's perfectly valid points. I think, what you try to say there, Nick, is we've got room for manoeuvre. And I know I brought this up, but I think it's something we're going to ask at every single episode between now and the end of the season, depending on how things go. What are your thoughts, Gary? Do you think it's a must win?
Much like Woody, you've got to win every game. I mean, let's not set out for a draw. Let's not set out to sit back and let Carlisle come on. Let's go out and try and win this game. If we lose or we draw, then fair enough, we move on to the next game. But let's not be negative. If we're going to try and get the points we need, let's go out and have a go at them, set ourselves up to win, and take it from there.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And just reading up on it and looking at the stats, Carlisle have got some good individual players as well. Their leading goal scorer, Christian Dennis, he's got about 15 goals this season, so he's on a good reign of form. I think it's the lad in midfield, Moxon. He's provided a lot of their assists. I've seen a few clips. I quite like the lad they've got from Leeds, McCalman. He plays down the left-hand side, I believe. So I think that battle between him and maybe Hutton down that right-hand side will be quite a key one, really. We know how much. Go on. Please.
I was going to say, I think as well, like Nick was alluding to, yeah, we might not, but we might lose a couple more games. But momentum is key to put the pressure on the teams above us. As well, because I know we had this argument about it being in our hands, but it's kind of, if we're winning games, that's got the teams above us looking over their shoulder and putting pressures on them. Whereas if we lose to Carlisle, regardless of their league position, that's teams that are originally ahead of us going, we don't, the pressure's not on them all of a sudden, especially if they win. And all of a sudden they're building the momentum. So the more we're building the winning momentum, whether it's 5 wins in a row or whatever, then we can afford to maybe have a little dip and drop points against, it doesn't matter who really. And then we pick it back up. We can prove we can pick it back up again. It's, so, but yeah, I think that's when I say, I know I treat every game as a must win, but when I say that it's probably a little bit more important tomorrow is because of that, as Nick said, kind of, I guess, intent in some ways to, if we've got 4 points off the top 3, in the matter of 2 weeks, that means we mean business. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That puts, and we've still got teams to play, in and around us. So hopefully it strikes a little bit of pressure onto them.
I think the other thing is we know we're in a position where we've got to go out hell for leather to win all the games we have coming up. And you look at the ones at the top that are starting to drop a few points. Orient have been dropping points. Northampton have been dropping points. Stevenage have been dropping points. Now, at one stage, it looked like that was the top 3 and forget about everything else. So they've dropped their level. And if it's only even by 1 or 2%, that makes a hell of a difference. We know we can't afford to drop our level at all. And we've got to be hell for leather for every game we play in now. So I think that puts us in a good position. Because as Woody said, there's teams around us. I mean, the actual form team at the moment, there's Sutton, who've taken 14 points in their last 6 games, higher than anybody else. So they're sort of in and around us. And they're obviously, doing what we need to do. Is you're pushing and pushing to get as many points as you can. So I think that's going to be a critical factor, and that's why the top 3 are struggling now, because mentally I think they thought, oh yeah, we cracked this, we're at the top and we'll be okay, and it's proving that they're not.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that the top 3 are struggling, but I get your point, Nick. It's what you and Woody say is very interesting, because it's about mentality as well. Especially you think about a team like Northampton, they're going to be looking over their shoulders and thinking about what happened last season, and the teams around them, like maybe Stevenage now, are going to be thinking, shit, are we going to do a Northampton like last season? So I think it's very valid about what we were saying all in all with what Gary started off with, that beating those teams above us can make such a big difference psychologically not just for us, but for the teams around the teams above us. So that could be
Let's be fair.
Very key.
Let's be fair. The pressure's not on Swindon at the moment. It's not. The pressure's on the teams above us to drop points. We win our games. We travel up the league. We'll see where we end up. There's no real pressure on us. We ain't got to stay in that playoff place. We're just going to see where we end up, and let's just win every game, and what will be will be.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Gary. I think that's going to be pretty much the case. So, have you guys got any more to say on the game tomorrow, or shall we go straight to predictions? No,
we haven't really spoken about the lineup, have we?
Yeah, lineup. That's what I was just going to say.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okie dokie. Yeah, let's talk about the lineup then. We'll start. I finished with you, Gary. I'll start with you then. How do you think we're going to line up tomorrow?
Defense is going to be the key, isn't it? I mean, I think the front team in the midfield almost picks itself at the moment. Obviously, the goalkeeper certainly does. Where we line up in defense will be. I mean, does Minton keep his place? Woody says yes. I agree. I think he played well today. I think it's fair to drop him out and put the new lad in. That's will be the defense will be the pick. But yeah, I think keep the same team that will finish the last game. Personally,
Rich, what Gary says about keeping the same team. What about Wakelin? How are we going to fit him in? Because he's got to start. I guess it depends what formation is as well. How are we going to accommodate Wakelin and Austin and everyone else?
Yeah, I think with Wakelin, obviously, I think the reason that he didn't start against Leighton was because he was carrying up a bit of a niggle or something like that in his ankle. But the impact of a sub. I mean, why the hell not? I mean, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he started really back early in the season when we had that Tuesday night game against Sutton, and he scored 2 goals. And I'm pretty sure he came on as a substitute then, and he scored 2 goals. And then he did that against Leyton Orient. Part of me thinks maybe we should keep him as an impact sub. I think in terms of the defense, I would keep the defense as it is. I think if obviously Lavigne's fit, I think, try and start him, try and fit him at some point in the squad or in the starting 11. Fantastic. That'd be great. Because I think, he obviously provided some massive threat in the games leading up to when he did get injured. I think in the midfield, I think we need to rest Kaji. I don't think he had the greatest of games against Leyton Orient. He was mistake for the goal. I mean, I would never criticize because I know we all make mistakes. Fair enough. That's absolutely fine. Do I think he's ready? I think Jake Kane's probably in a better position than he is at the moment. Obviously, he was, I think, injured. Oh, no, he was ill for the Leyton Orient game. I'd like to think that he'd be brought back into the squad. But apart from that, I think they're the only real changes that I would make to the starting 11. I wouldn't alter it too much. But yeah, I thought Tomlinson was good in the sort of manoeuvred position where it was left centre back, but I want to see him playing in his natural position, like I wanted Blake Tracy to play in his natural position, but obviously we didn't get to see that too much. But yeah, those are the changes I would make.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, it's about momentum, isn't it? They've got that little bit of momentum, so I guess it would make sense to try and keep the same team in. So I'm going to ask Woody probably a rhetorical question, but should Wakelin start?
100% Wakelin should start. Drop Charlie Austin. He hasn't scored for 3 games. Fuck him off.
That'll get some bites on Twitter, Woody. Post that on Twitter later.
I've just had a look at how. I don't know if it's how we necessarily finished, but I agree. I mean, whoever does the stats on Google, totally disagrees with Rich because they've got Kaji down as one of the best players last week. So,
Really?
so, yeah, whoever that is, totally
In
disagrees with
terms
you.
of what?
It's 4 out of 5 stars given last week. So
What?
yeah,
He was
Obviously,
he was the mistake for the fucking goal.
obviously, the person
True.
who does the reviews works for Bristol City, I bet.
it's player rated by Google users. This people, several people disagree with Rich.
What the fuck? What were they fucking watching?
I didn't know you could do that. Like you review a restaurant or something like that. You can review a player.
You've got 4-star advisor.
Oh, crikey.
So looking at it,
I'm sure it was Kaji that was the mistake for the goal.
yeah, I thought it's Hepburn Murphy. So
No, it's Kaji lost his man.
Yeah, it was Kaji. Thank God for that.
If they were man marking, because they look like
we were
they
man
look like
marking.
they're
We
zonal
were
marking.
marking. Yeah, no, we were man
They
marking.
look like they were zonal marking the replay. But the so if so FPT's still out, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who's the other lad we just got to it?
All right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we play free at back. Maybe Mike Min, which would allow Tomlinson go out onto that left wing back. Maybe if Kaji if he needs a rest, put Williams into that midfield and put Wakelin up top with Charlie. I mean, it looks like here we finished for 3-4-3. I don't know if the lads on here would say that that's how we finished the Leyton Orient game.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so that suggests to me that at some point it was a 3-5-2. So it's, maybe since Devine's out, Tomlinson out there, maybe the lad he's trained for a couple of weeks now. So why not put him in? See how fit he can get. See how fit we can. How much we can get out of him. Will we have any other centre backs on the bench? We won't, will we?
No, I don't think we will. So. No.
So yeah,
obviously, Kaji's the only makeshift.
That's what I was going to say.
Defender,
yeah. The option would be as if he's going to give Kaji a rest, maybe a little bit more attacking if he does that as well. Kind of drops Johnny Williams into the midfield and puts Wakelin out on the left, Hepburn Murphy out on the right with Austin down the middle. And then I wouldn't have anything next to that. Has anybody ever called a Jody team before the team came out? Always a surprise. I think when I'm actually saying that on that fan hub thing that you can predict the lineup. I think I got one spot on one week. I was well proud of myself. I've not got one since. But yeah. So if it is a game for Kaji to rest, then maybe. Again, not against what Dale's put there. I do think Wakelin should start. And I know. Obviously, I'm a bit of a Wakelin fanboy, but it's at the end of the day, the guy is rewarding us with goals. He's rewarding us with work rate. He gives us so much out on that pitch. And when we think like Charlie Austin, and this is no critique of Charlie Austin, by the way, because I fucking love him. He's back. He's great. But the fact is, we got him to score goals. He's not scored in 3 games. And I don't think he's been on the assists either. So minus work rate and leadership on the field, is he doing his role as effective as what Wakelin is?
I think with Wakelin, like I said, obviously in terms of an impact substitution, he has obviously had that impact in previous games, like sort of thing like that. And every time that he has come off the bench, he has seemed to have done something, whether or not that is an assist or a goal. And you want that energy, you want that,
Yeah. And I think the thing is as well, we never see 90 minutes out.
As well. It's the same with Darcy.
Yeah, and we never see 90 minutes out of Wakelin. So you either know he's going to come, he's going to start and absolutely run a defender ragged for an hour, and then he'll be replaced by someone like, it could be like Shade, it could be potentially Adeloy, Darcy, Agua, or whatever. Again, they'll be up against an absolutely knackered defender. Or, like Rich said, you're already tired defender after an hour, and then you've got someone like Jacob Wakelin running at you. You're almost shitting yourself. So, but I think he deserves the space based on that. If he's fit, he deserves the space. He's been by far, in my opinion, in terms of our fittest player, our hardest working player this season. So I don't see any reason why not to play him. That's. I wish we had
that player at this point.
Well,
I think he means Adeloy.
I know he does.
Yeah.
I know he does.
Well, I'll bring Nick in on that one with what Ben's just said. What do you think of that then, Nick? That's an interesting one to drop Williams, play Wakelin behind Austin and Adeloy. Do you think that could work?
I can't see that happening, to be honest. I think he wants to have a level of experience on that pitch from the start, and I sort of agree with Rich. I think if he plays a back three, so I forgot the new lad's name. What was it?
Brewitt.
Right. I think it'll be Minton, Brewitt, and Clayton is a back three. That gives it a bit more protection. Then you've got Hutton, Tomlinson as your wing backs. Tomlinson playing in his proper position, which is again what we've all talked about. I would see it being the midfield to Kadji and McEachran. I think Kane is probably too similar to McEachran. Kadji gives a bit more movement, and I would probably keep Hepburn, Murphy, Austin, and Williams is a front three or two with Austin further up. And like you say, then you've got the players that you can bring on when needed. And if Wakeling's got to do that for a few games, so be it, for the benefit of the team. But equally, it wouldn't surprise me if Hepburn Murphy went on the bench and Wakeling came in. So we have got good options in midfield and up front, as we've said all the way along. And if they can start clicking, we will beat any team in this league. So hopefully, let's have it on Saturday. So yeah, I think a back three, to me, it screams a back three again. Not that I particularly like a back three, but certainly with the tactical notes of Morris, he does change things through a game. It makes little tweaks that sometimes I have to read about afterwards because I'm not a qualified coach, and you can't always see what he's done. But yeah, he's smart on that basis, so it gives us lots of options. So I think it's very similar.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No. That's fine. You go, Rich.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, I'm done. That's.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, I thought Woody was going. Let's face it. We haven't really had a sort of impact sub for quite a few seasons now as well. So to have somebody like Jacob Wakeling, who's young, fresh, and gives 100% effort every time, whether or not he starts or he comes on the pitch, and tries to make an impact as best as possible, that's only positive for us. And obviously he did that last week. So, I mean, see how it goes again, and, bring him on with during the 60th minute or 65th minute. And, if we're struggling 0-0, come on, bring him and see what he can do, and it's always good to have that fresh, sort of young player coming onto the pitch. Like Darcy's still very young himself. So, that can only, and the thing is, he's a proven game changer as well as Jacob Wakeling. So, it's only positive for us.
And there's always Jeff Cott.
Yes, yeah. He's almost
Jody's come out and said about Jeff Cott as well. So,
What did he say about him then?
So he said, obviously, he's a good player, sort of thing. But when you've got somebody like Charlie Austin up front,
yeah, it's going to be a struggle.
It's always going to be hard to compete, But we've all had our own opinions on Jeff Cott anyway. So
yeah, no, fair enough. Woody, you was going to say something before Rich rudely interrupted you.
I think it was more of a case we spoke at the same time. To be fair, I guess from my point of view, again on the Wakeling situation is, if he scores again, what are we saying on Monday? Because obviously we've got Walsall on Tuesday as well.
Yeah.
If he comes on and scores again, really, he has to play. He has to start against Walsall just for the fresh legs, if anything else. But I get the point of being an impact sub, but you lads have played football. Nobody wants to be a fucking sub. It doesn't matter whether you're an impact sub or not. And if I'm Wakeling, if I'm scoring again, if he scores again on Saturday and then ends up being on the bench on Tuesday again, it's kind of, I'll tell you what, that destroys a player, because as a player, you're sat there going, what the fuck have I got to do to start? Hopefully it was the injury was the reason he was on the bench. But so I'm not against the theory of an impact sub, because it could be what's best for the team. But, there's I think I wouldn't be surprised if we look at the stats in terms of, and we all love a stat, don't we? If we looked at the stats of how many games we haven't scored when Wakeling hasn't been on the pitch, because I think I did look at this earlier in the season, times that we haven't scored when he hasn't been on the pitch, is actually quite high. So do we want to risk that? When
But that was the thing.
Wasn't
well,
there, sorry, Rich. Wasn't there a
Yeah,
stat
no.
that was posted this week that Wakeling has got the highest number of goals and stats in League
for an
Two
under 20,
as well?
For an under 21 player, yeah.
For an under 20, right? Okay, it was still impressive though, and it's it becomes hard to sort of justify keeping him on the bench, really, in my view. But
yeah. I mean, it's good, as Nick said. I think it was Nick that said it. It's good that we've got the flexibility and the attacking options to do that. I mean, let's be honest. Regardless of what we all think of Jeff Carr, and even I slag him off at times, he's not a tremendously bad player. No. I actually think he's probably got more of the impact sub written on him, really, because he's that kind of striker you want to bring on who, when you're pouting balls into the box type thing. But unfortunately, we just never have that in our bank when we're losing, that we're just going to keep pouting balls into the box. But yeah, and then obviously the mystery that is Adeloy, as well. So we have got that kind of attacking now. So I haven't been massively impressed with Darcy as of late. But there is a player there because I did like him, at the beginning of the season. So there is a player there. As much as we talk about him, Shade is, since Jody's come in, or since Lindsay left, he's been a very good impact sub. It seems that every time he comes on. Now, I don't know if that's because he's maybe told kind of, right, come on, Tyrese, you've got half hour, go give it your fucking all, or whether it is a change of management and he just can't get into the side at the moment. I don't know. But yeah, it's just nice that we got those. And even in midfield, I mean, I totally forgot when we were predicting our lineup, I forgot about Kane. This lad who I saw on his home debut, and I'm thinking, do you know what? He's got a bit of something about him, and and he's probably not even in our considerations as first name on the team sheet. So really, we have got the options there, which is quite nice. And now, it would have been nice to have one more centre back in, but let's not go over that old bridge again. But yeah, it's. I think, the more I think about it, the more I kind of convince myself that Brewitt will probably start. That's probably why they've tried to get him over the line so quickly.
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me personally, I don't know if you agree, Woody, but I think in order for the team to gel, they should have some consistency. No, I'm only joking, mate. I'm just winding you up because I know you hate that word, mate.
Especially when we're about 30 games into the season.
Yes,
right?
yes, I know. That's why I went there, mate. I couldn't resist. I mean, unless you guys have got anything else to say about the lineup, we can go into the predictions. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll start with you then, Gary. What's your prediction for tomorrow?
I want to say Swindon get a win, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw with either side getting a very late equaliser. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fair enough, mate. There's a bit of hint of Craig pessimism there, so that's good. That's good to see. Nick.
Exactly what I was going to say. I can see it being a 2-2 draw.
Oh, you lot are going to be a barrel of fucking laughs tomorrow, aren't you?
He says goals.
It'll be an end-to-end game, hell for leather. I want us to win as much as the next man, but I'll go with Gary on 2-2.
Fair enough. Woody.
Before kick-off, roughly about half a bottle of wine, maybe a couple of beers, maybe a shot for the birthday boy. And then throughout the game you can't drink, so maybe a Diet Coke to get the fizzy going. Half time, definitely a cider.
Got a cup of tea.
A cup of tea as well, maybe. Sorry. I think we're going to win 3-1.
3-1.
Austin's going to get a hat trick and then tweet the shit out of me.
Yes. Brilliant, mate. And Rich?
I've got to base this on on how well they're doing and our previous home record against Carlisle. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna lose 2-1. But I want us to win. Like Nick said, I want us to win, and I want them to surprise me tomorrow. I really want us to go out and literally go for it. And I'm hoping it'll
Do
be
you know
either
what? Fuck
one.
this. I'm going to watch Bassett tomorrow. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
Oh dear.
But
Oh
yeah,
god.
I've got I
Well,
hate to say it.
No, that's fair enough, Rich. I mean, I got to be honest. I was going to go 2-2 as well, but I think it's going to be
I'm the only one that said a loss.
I think it's going to be
What
very
the hell's going on?
boring. I think it's going to be very boring if we had 3 predictions at 2-2, and Rich is obviously impersonating me now by going for a 2-1 defeat. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna play the Fifey role and try to be positive. I'm gonna put us down for a 4-2 win, but I've fucking jinxed it now, haven't I? When I've predicted wins before, it's never turned out well for us. But yeah, no, fuck it. I'll even put a fiver on it tomorrow. 4-2 Swindon. It's
We've
going to
all
be
said
gold.
goals. They finish 0-0 now. You watch.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Or Carlisle are going to nick it in the last minute of the game or something.
Put your money on a 0-0 then, Gary. It's a banker, mate. Guaranteed.
Fun fact: 3 years in 2019, the anniversary of the '69 League Cup, we drew 0-0, and it was the windiest game that was. So I wouldn't put it past it.
What game was that?
I can't remember who we played that day.
Was that Newport?
I might have been.
Because I was in hospitality for that game as well. For fuck's sake!
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Because remember, we went downstairs afterwards, and they had the League Cup trophy there. It was the 50th anniversary. Was it 50th anniversary? Yeah, 50th anniversary. Yeah, 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I was in hospitality in that game as well.
That's right.
Sake.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, lads, but there's only one way I'm going to get through tomorrow's game.
No, brilliant. Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be a good day, hopefully. So we'll move on to the next thing. News was announced this week through Debs, who's quite well known on Twitter, that Swindon have agreed to bring in what they call a warm welcome space. Now, I know that some people are going to say that, in this day and age, being the 6th richest economy in the world or whatever, there shouldn't be a need for it. But unfortunately, that is the case. There are people who are struggling, to heat their homes and to feed themselves. So this is an excellent idea, which I know has been in the pipeline for a while, and fair play to Debs and everyone involved at the club, and I think it was the foundation involved on this as well. I think, or maybe not.
I think they were partially involved, but
right.
I think it was mainly Debs and Dean and the club pushing it. So, but yeah, I think the foundation have got something to do with it as well.
Yeah, so this is going to come in on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. This is for people who aren't watching via YouTube, but they're going to do breakfast between 8:30 and 10 o'clock, and a lunch between 12 and 2. They obviously won't be doing that on a match day. I think I've cut off where it was. On the screenshot here, unfortunately, but yeah, this is a really good thing, and I'm sure a lot of people will need to help it. What are your thoughts, guys, on this?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to do, and fair play to the club. I'm just trying to remember where it is. I think it is actually.
Don Rogers, right at the end.
Is it the old Junior Robbins room or wherever it is?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
buddy.
I mean, yeah, fantastic, isn't it? I think beyond foot, this is what really highlights that things are beyond football. There's bigger things than football, but it's amazing how much an impact that football can have. on the community. Like the foundation, we speak about loads about the amount of stuff they do, going from Project Me all the way through to other projects and stuff like that. But you look at the other things that Swindon's probably the main hub now for blood donations and all of that kind of stuff. Given the fact that we've got the exciting news of the new developments and all of that with the stadium, there's just going to be more that we can do. I'd probably try and reach out to those guys and see if there's any way that I can help out at all on those. And I'd really, that kind of thing. I've done it before, helping out with, I think it was like Swindon Angels in terms of like homeless food banks and all those kind of different kind of things that you can contribute to. So if you do have any spare time, or putting my HR hat on, use your statutory voluntary leave.
That's what I was going to use. Yeah.
But I'd encourage people to try and get involved with that, because that's people that make that work. Football's just the thing that's connecting everybody together there. But it's the people that will make that work.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to help or make donations or volunteer, then either contact the club or contact Debs via Twitter. I'm just reading her tweet now. She has said, I'm so happy that we finally get to launch this tomorrow morning. This was a couple of days ago. Please, Swindon Town fans, share wide and far. Breakfast is toast and hot drinks. Lunch will be soups and pot noodles with hot drinks. And like you said, Woody, that will be in the Junior Robin suite. Just follow the Don Rogers stand. So, yeah, amazing work there by Debs and everyone involved at the club. And I'm sure it'll be appreciated by many people. I think as well, you get some people who are on their own, and it might be a chance to socialise. So there's the whole mental aspect, which obviously we're quite big on this pod. So yeah, it's a good thing, I think, for everyone all round. And some more good news, as we kind of alluded to earlier. It wouldn't be a podcast without saying that. We are Fools Rush In are the match day sponsors for tomorrow's game, and I have got the screenshot here. And this has been organised and done, and very kindly done by Nick. And it's there it is on the on the programme. If you can see there, just below the First City principal partner. We are the sponsors for tomorrow. So we've got a whole day where we're going to be wined and dined at the county ground. Most of the Fools are going to be there. Really looking forward to it. And Nick, I'm sure you're looking forward to it as well, mate.
100%. When I was sort of looking at investigating it, there's sort of two dates around where it could be done. One was January, and one was obviously this weekend. And I thought, well, January is always going to be iffy with the weather. You never know what it's going to do. I mean, what happens is bloody snowing all week. So, that's typical. So, but it's also, which is my era, and full well, my team, it's the League Cup final anniversary weekend from when we won it in 69. 69 significant. I'm 69, so everything all slots in together, and we've got 10 of the 11 Fools attending. I did speak to Gary about it. I think the only one who can't make it is Mark, because his lad's birthday. So it's going to be a real good turnout. We'll have an absolute stonking day. The agenda looks really good, really exciting. Rich and Woody can grill Jody Morris before the game on his tactics, because we get to meet with him, so that'll be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. And a good day for all. So it's absolutely brilliant. And thinking about it, obviously I only joined the Fools recently, but to think from watching you guys then joining, and now we're going to be sponsoring a game, would never have ever dreamt of that happening. So it's going to be absolutely stonking.
Nick, I love the fact that you said that you've joined recently. Honestly, it feels as if you've been with us since the very beginning. Honestly, I know that. Honestly, it feels as if that you were one of the originals, like sort of thing like that. And you've been a massive, massive part to our to the podcast as
Boosting
a
our
whole,
profile.
like sort of thing.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Well,
mate,
well.
with the amount of people that you're meeting on a match day, honestly, it's
Well, yeah, we'll get around a few more on Saturday as well. I'm sure we'll meet a few more tables and give them a bit of grief. So I have got something planned as well, but I don't know whether I'll be able to do it. So watch out for what might happen.
Oh no,
we always love a surprise from you, Nick, but we're not sure what to be prepared for, so we'll have to wait and see. But I just like to say, and I'm sure Craig was going to say it anyway, but I just like to say on behalf of all the Falls, like sort of thing, like obviously thank you for obviously organising the day, and we'll all have a great time together tomorrow. So we're all really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Cheers for that, Rich. Appreciate that.
You've done far more shows than me, Nick. Put it that way.
That wasn't hard. That wasn't hard, Gary.
Hey, you're steaming ahead now, Gary. What's that? Where is it? 3?
Well, Gary feels like he's been there from the beginning because he pretty much nearly has. So, yeah.
In fact, if you take the guest episodes out of it, he's not that far behind Kieran, is he?
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Yeah, no, yeah, like Rich said, Nick, I said to you in our chat, I'm just honoured and really flattered that you've invited us all. It was a really, really kind and generous gesture from yourself, and it just shows how far we've come as a podcast. These 11, 12 or so people who hardly know each other except for a few bitchy exchanges on Twitter and social media and all. We've become really good friends out of it, and long may it continue. So yeah, really looking forward to that tomorrow. Hopefully my liver has recovered from my 2-nighter in Edinburgh this week. But yeah, it's looking really, really good, and hopefully a good result to match. So I don't have any other business. Oh yeah, just got one more from Nick, who's obviously been a guest on the show. Good luck tomorrow. Should be fun. Got to be a win. Hope to be watching from over here. And Nick, surprise, he is the senior mascot to be in the STFC kit on the pitch.
He's the sub defender. Nick's the sub defender on.
Yeah. I don't know. Do they do a Rocky Robin costume in your size, Nick? Probably not. Really, will they?
No.
What's the name of a baby Robin?
Robin, isn't it?
Rob.
But yeah. Once again, thank you, chaps, so much for this evening and for being on and for your time. Once again, thank you for everyone who has been watching and also listening on the podcast. If you have enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. It helps with the algorithms and all that. Subscribe, hit that bell notification as well, and you'll get informed when we are doing these live episodes every Monday and Friday at 9:00 in the evening. And also share and like on social media, as it helps. Again, it helps us a lot, and we really appreciate it. Once again,
this is where Fifey's got really arrogant, Craig, because he never wraps up with a give us a like and all of this kind of stuff. So well done, you sir. You keep that profile matching up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I gave up telling him off on it, mate. So yeah, I thought while I'm sat in the chair of destiny here, or whatever it's called, I'll give it a go. But yeah, as I say that, thanks again, everyone, and let's hope for a win tomorrow. And good night.
Have a cracking day tomorrow, boys.
You Reds.
Take my hands, take my whole life too, but I can't help falling in love.